If you're anything like me, you probably spend half your time in PoE staring at loot on the ground wondering if it's actually worth picking up. I was running tier 15 maps and constantly stopping to check rares. Most of the time they weren't upgrades, they weren't worth selling, and it just slowed me down. The problem is, I don't really understand crafting, and despite my efforts at learning, the complications involved to actually make currency is too much for me. I know it's powerful, but personally I'd rather farm currency, sell what I find, and just buy my upgrades from that. So I decided to build a loot filter around that idea. Not the best loot filter, but the most efficient loot filter for me. Just a loot filter for people who want to kill monsters, make currency, and spend less time looking at loot. I'm Rain Dragon, and I'm about to share with you my currency loot filter. In the background you'll see footage of me running a tier 15 3 Abyss modifier tablet map, and I'm using the never sync very strict loot filter basically as it comes out of the box. Now I know you can edit these loot filters, but again this is aimed at people who are new to the game or loot filters are trouble, and therefore you probably don't know how to edit all the loot filters and make the changes that you need to see the things you want. Before the filter that I've created, the currency filter, I would constantly see rares everywhere, bases I wasn't interested in, items I'd pick up just in case, inventory filling up quickly. In fact, in this map I'm running in the background, I had to leave over 5 times and I filled 3 stash tabs with loot that it advised me to pick up. The biggest issue wasn't that these items were worthless, it was that I had to make a decision every time. Should I pick it up? Should I check it? Should I value it? Could it be valuable? How do I craft this to be valuable? Eventually I realised I was spending more time evaluating loot than actually playing the game. I asked myself this simple question: what do I actually want from mapping? And the answer is currency. That's it. If I can farm enough currency, I can just buy the upgrades I need from other players. I don't need to identify hundreds of rares hoping for a jackpot. So I went into the filter settings and I started removing things from my filter. First I hid weaker rares, then I started being more selective with bases, and I eventually ended up with a filter that focuses on currency, valuable crafting items, strong rare bases, obvious high value drops, and it ignores most of the rest of everything else. I also changed the colours and the borders and things like that. I find that with Filter Blade you realise that when things drop you don't actually know what the colours mean or the symbols mean, and I wanted something that was obvious from the get-go. While I'm talking, the gameplay you're watching in the background is a tier 15 map with a 3 Abyss modifier tablet setup, using the exact same atlas and farming strategy as before. The only difference is that this time I'm using my currency focused loot filter. The reason I made this loot filter is simple. I don't really enjoy crafting. I know crafting is powerful and I can make a lot of currency, but personally I'd rather spend my time mapping, collecting currency and turning that currency into upgrades. For me, every item on the ground is a decision. Do I pick it up? Do I identify it? Do I price check it? Is it worth selling? All of this adds up. With the loot filter I last in the previous map, it could take me around 20 minutes once I'd finished sorting through all the loot, but with this loot filter, that same map often takes less than 5 minutes because I'm spending far less time evaluating items and far more time killing monsters. The filter still highlights things that I consider worth stopping for: valuable currency, important crafting materials, strong rare bases, better ranked jewellery, high value items with obvious trade potential. When I do pick up these rares, my process is really simple. I identify them and do a quick price check. If they're worth more than around 5x, I'll sell them. If they're worth less than this, I usually either vendor them, or if I see some potential but without my crafting knowledge, I'll throw them into a dump tab priced at 1x and let the market decide if someone wants it. The goal of this filter isn't to find every possible valuable item in the game. The goal is to find the items that are actually worth me stopping my map for. For my playstyle, I'd rather miss the occasional hidden gem than spend hours sorting through hundreds of rares that I'll never use. Before I wrap up, you'll see some images on screen, and I'd quickly like to explain the colour system I use throughout the filter, because that's really what makes it work for me. The goal is that I can glance at an item and immediately know whether it's worth stopping for. So for most items the colours work like this. The red border with a white background is S tier, the green background is A tier, the blue background is B tier, orange is C tier, and grey background is D tier. The higher the tier, the more likely I am to stop what I'm doing and pick it up immediately. There are a few exceptions to the system. For uniques, I use a purple colour scheme to only show uniques that I've classified as S tier or A tier. For gems, I keep the standard teal colour so they're instantly recognisable, but the filter only shows level 5 support gems and level 19 and 20 gems. For jewellery, I use a black background with coloured borders. The border colour indicates the tier, so the red border would be S tier, blue would be A tier, and so on. For rares, I'm only interested in the high item level bases, so the filter is focused on item level 81 and 82 rares that have a realistic chance of being worth checking. The whole purpose of this colour system is speed. When something drops, I don't want to spend time reading every label and making decisions. The colours give me an instant indication of whether I should run over and pick it up, or whether I'm happy to leave it on the ground and continue mapping. And that's it really, the philosophy behind the entire filter. This isn't the most profitable loot filter in PoE 2, it isn't the filter I'd recommend for dedicated crafters, market experts or players who enjoy checking every rare that drops. It's a filter built around the way I like to play the game. I want to spend my time mapping, killing monsters and collecting currency. I'd rather sell that currency and buy upgrades than spend hours identifying and evaluating hundreds of items. Will I occasionally miss a valuable item? Sure, I probably will. But for me, it's a trade-off I'm happy to make if it means spending more time playing the game and less time staring at loot on the ground. Since switching to this filter, my maps are faster, my screen is cleaner, and I spend far less time sorting through inventory for every run. If that sounds like your kind of playstyle, then hopefully you'll find this filter useful as well. I've made the filter publicly available and you'll find a link to it in the description below if you'd like to try it for yourself. If you do give it a go, I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know what works, what doesn't, and any changes you would make. I'm still tweaking and improving it as I continue progressing through the game. If you found the video useful, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and thanks for watching.